Views now of City analyst David Buick. Good to have you on the programme tonight, David. So are we hearing the pop of champagne bottles yet or not? What do you think?
No, I think that's a little bit over the top. It's a big move from where we were in 2009 when it was minus 5.2%. And at the end of 2012, it was 0.1%. So this 1.9% is encouraging. And I'll tell you why I'm encouraged by it. It's much more broad-based.
Is it balanced, though? Because there are parts...
Not in the country.
Parts of the country that are having big problems, but also there are parts of the economy that aren't doing that well still, aren't there?
We had, out of these figures, without being an anorak and being boring about it, the only thing that was very disappointing was construction, which was down by 0.3%. Now, you'd have thought with the need for house building and also other types of construction that we need for infrastructure in this country, you would have thought it would have been better than that. But if we recall, the weather was dire in October, November and December, and we will forgive them at being a cyclical problem.
Now, we've had lots and lots of comments on this. We always do when it comes to the economy and recovery. Hayley Fletcher via Facebook says, I'm no better off than I was last year. In my town, small shops are closing, unemployment is up, the food bank is overrun with more and more families. And Debbie Crampton also on Facebook says, I'm no better off. I don't know anyone else who is. We're the lucky ones who do find jobs, and they're often on 0 hours contracts. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because normal people are not feeling the recovery. It doesn't matter what politicians say. So when do you think they will, David?
It's very hard for me to actually give an explicit time because all the activities in London and the South East, and most of it's in London,
a real problem, isn't it?
Which is 6 times the growth of the rest of the countries in London, which is completely disproportionate.
How about this time next year? That's
be much better. And I'll tell you why I feel more encouraged. We chucked for a decade all our eggs in one basket, which was the financial services sector, and it gave us a good smacking. Now, I think the government has seen that we have to have a balanced economy. So they've been out trying to do business elsewhere, apart from Europe, where we do 40% of our trade. We've neglected our beloved Commonwealth. The continent of Africa, the continent of South America is so important. And if we can get ourselves into the small businesses to make export to these places, you should feel a much better situation.
So fingers crossed, in a year's time, we'll all feel better. But the problem is, we'll have interest rates rising in a year's time too, will we? Is that your prediction?
I'm one of the few people who believe Mark Carney. I don't think that we're in any position to raise interest rates for at least 2 years. Why? Because I don't think business, industry and commerce or the individual can sustain its debt at higher levels. I mean, even if you're at 0.5% with the tracker mortgage or at 2% and somebody raises interest rates by 2%, as a proportion of increase, that is astronomical.
Okay.
We're not ready.